I recently saw Taylor Swift has the opportunity to purchase all her own old masters. I don't know if you saw this, but she had supposedly so Scooter Braun bought them, and then a year later sold them for like a $200 million profit to this other capital, I think Green Acres Capital or something like that. And Taylor, they're now open to selling the masters back to Taylor for somewhere between what I saw was $600 million to $1 billion. And apparently, the rumor mill behind doors is Scooter Braun's actually pushing the company to sell them back to Taylor, whether or not it's a good deed or what have you, whatever. One thing that I learned when I was reading about this process was, okay, let's say she's got to pay $1 billion for these records. One, she likely doesn't have $1 billion in cash, right? Almost nobody does. And so, okay, so how is she going to pay? How is this deal going to get structured? And it could be their typical, seller finance type thing where, hey, listen, I'll give you $100 million up front. I'm going to go bananas in the next 2 years with licensing and all this other stuff and play a bunch of tours and all this stuff. And you'll get royalties and all this to get to the point where you get your full money back over the next 5-10 years, right? So there's always that way, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I found interesting was when you talk about, Taylor's version, when she re-recorded so many things, what supposedly the data is out about her doing all that is that not only, Taylor's version is great. Of course, you're going to get some streams over there, but apparently it also takes a huge spike on the originals. All the original streams take a huge, it shoots up quite a bit when she releases Taylor version of the original song. So although, it's, everyone's trying to sit here and support Taylor Swift and get out of, the original music, people forget. And they're like, oh, let's listen. Oh, Taylor Swift. I wonder what the original sounded like. Or I missed the original. So you listen to it, right? And so you see this huge spike, elsewhere. And it's like, all right, so this could be everyone's saying this would be a very profitable endeavor for Taylor because she would own the rights forever. She'd be able to license them out, do a ton of different things that gets them out into the world and, have the ability to, make a ton of money over the next, she's still young. She's around my age. So she's got to be 34. I think she's a little bit older than me. So maybe 35 or 36 years old. And she can make money on this, in perpetuity. And so, when you talk about the All American Rejects and how this ties together, it's like, the virality of it's great. Maybe you get reintroduced. Maybe you do the tour next year like TiVo's talking about. But on top of that, you have to imagine right now that dirty little secret, at the very least, the streaming and the licensing and people wanting it right now is through the roof. And they're probably making a good amount of money on the back end of this. Not that, or maybe, I don't know how much they own. Maybe it's a label that owns it, kind of like Taylor Swift. So it could be somebody else that owns those rights. But if they do own a piece of it, they're bringing a little bit of money in this. It's a good organic way. Doesn't feel salesy and anything. Not that they're trying to be salesy. They're very clearly not trying to be salesy. But it's a good organic way that's great for consumers. And they make a little money on the back end, possibly because of all the streaming that takes place, all the licensing that may take place, perhaps some merch. Maybe they're selling merch at this time that people are like, oh, you know what, I will buy that All American Rejects T-shirt. Whatever the case may be. So I think it's interesting way to do it.